Hello, Anglos and Paddy here from JustStarTrek.com. Today we're going to be reviewing the new Picard pilot episode. Now, we haven't spoken about it before, so this is all fresh to us what each other's opinions are. But I'm
freshly watched
Freshly
more than
watched.
3 hours ago.
So I'm just going to kick off, Paddy,
Yeah.
and say, just give a little bit of context to this. I just feel for the past, 2 years, I feel that maybe Star Trek hasn't really been true Star Trek, with Discovery being so poor as it is. And then to see the episode when it came out it's almost a breath of fresh air. It's like the studios have redeemed themselves. I feel that Picard is a really, really good, strong opening pilot episode for the rest of the series. It was so good, in fact, I've watched it 3 times because it was so good. 3 times, yeah. And it was great to see Patrick Stewart back in the role again. They had loads of little references to the past, whether it's sounds or visuals or names, which we'll come on to in a minute.
Can we just say spoiler alert?
Yeah,
Obviously.
massive spoiler alert.
If you haven't watched it,
But genuinely, I'm really, really pleased. I feel that finally there's some hope in the Star Trek world again. What were your thoughts?
well, I know you're not a massive Star Trek Discovery fan. I thought it was actually not that bad. But Kurtzman's involved in it, and you've slated him before, haven't you?
For sure.
So can I get that plate of humble pie and just hand it to you? Would you
Yum,
like
yum,
to
yum.
eat?
I don't mind. I don't mind eating this humble pie because they did a great job with Picard. I feel that the studios perhaps listened to the fans and they've seen what worked, what didn't work with Discovery, and they've applied the lessons.
Well, I don't know about listening to the fans, but clearly they've brought back one of the great Star Trek characters and captains, and my partner is a massive fan of Jean-Luc and has even intimated she'd like to meet him. And he likes pit bulls. He's called number 1, the
Yeah.
pit bull. He specifically asked for a pit bull dog to be written into the story.
Yeah.
I believe he's got one himself, and particularly to sort of counter the negative image that pit bulls have. But going back to the episode, I love the introduction in that it was him playing a card game, which, if you remember, The Next Generation was the last scene
In All Good Things.
in the Next Generation,
Yeah.
where the standard sort of poker crowd are there around the table. There's sort of 5 characters, and then I believe Troy comes in, and then Picard comes in.
Yeah.
And it's the first time he has appeared at the card game table, and he obviously he says something along the lines like, "I wish I'd done this before."
Yeah. But
So-
what I also liked, Paddy, was the fact that Blue Skies, a song
Yeah.
by Irving Berlin, was the last thing we heard in Nemesis, which is 20 odd years ago. And by opening up on that, I just thought it's a really nice dovetail between the two to bridge those 20-year gap.
Well, I mean, they've clearly thought about it. They've obviously, like you said, linked in all those things from the past. And, even having Data there, one of the iconic Star Trek Next Generation characters, never mind an iconic Star Trek character in there, obviously worked as well. And we know from some of the trailer clips that are coming up that Riker's going to be in there, Troy's going to be in there.
7 of 9.
7 of 9. Absolutely looking forward to her huge performance. And of course the end clip of Remembrance featured a Borg cube.
Yeah, the end. So we're going to go through the episode, but the ending, it felt a bit strange. Now, there's probably a couple
I didn't quite know where they were going with that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah. It's like, right, Christ, we've got to end this episode.
Yeah.
Right, let's do something. A bit of a cliffhanger. Borg, I don't know, Borg. And there's no context for it.
But it's not Borg, is it?
Yeah, it's a Romulan outpost.
Reclamation station.
Yeah.
See,
But-
recycling is big in the future. This is the future.
But
recycling.
I've been told, Paddy, that originally, when they aired it in America, there was like 2-3 episodes they did back to back. So when we see it next week, there'll be a lot more context and it'll make more sense. I just felt that they had to find an end point at 45 minutes or so. So going back to the start then.
Well, I think maybe the only thing they missed there, they should have had Locutus of Borg pop up.
Right, okay.
Just as a reference back to the best of both worlds. But anyway, that's just.
But
I'm only joking.
Yeah. I liked how they've got many little Star Trek references from the
Yeah.
past, but it wasn't overdone, especially in the pilot episode. And I thought they were respectful. It was nice. It felt familiar. That world we grew up with in the 80s and 90s. It was like, right, okay, I can see a natural evolution here to 20 years on in Starfleet history. I've been wanting for many years, almost like the Federation to start decaying. We've seen it at its peak, and I want to see some corruption, something going wrong, a dark side to it, because all empires go through this. You have the glory years, and then you have the bad times, and then hopefully you turn it around.
I'm a Manchester United fan. I'm understanding a lot of late.
So it was nice to see Picard. He's retired. He's used to his life of just tending the vineyards. And then by the end of the episode, he's like, right, I've got a purpose again. I've been sleeping for 20 years, now I've woken up. And I really like that.
Well, it's going to be interesting. See, he looked very frail to me. Obviously, he's either a very good actor, or that's part of the script, or he actually is frail, which we know he isn't. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they portrayed him like that, and he's going to be invigorated by getting back out into space. I mean, they did touch on the decline of Starfleet, but only brief references. Really, Picard saying that they had changed direction. It wasn't the Starfleet he joined. Having been in the Royal Navy for 18 years, I understand that, because things do change as time passes. But and obviously he's got a lot of bitterness there about that. And then we've got the girl, haven't we?
Daj. So I just want to say very quickly.
I'm glad you said her name, because I'd forgotten it.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something else which would have given a clue.
So I liked some of the ways that they've referenced the past. So Daj, they said it was a merging of two plants, I think it was, and it had this long Latin name which I forget right now. But it's a mixture between yellow and pink, and that's effectively what Data was. It was yellow, and pink being the human aspect. So they completely merged it. So I like that poetry. But what I wanted to say very quickly, we saw Daj for maybe 10-15 minutes before what happened to her. You know, she got blown up with the acid and the overloading phaser rifle.
Don't date her, because that's not going to end well.
Yeah, you'll get a knife through the heart, which incidentally looks like the same knife that Shinzon used in Nemesis with the two blades.
Well, they clearly are Romulan, the agents.
Yeah, but it's a nice little touch there. But what I wanted to say, Paddy, is that this girl, Daj, I had more of a connection. I cared for her more in 10 minutes than in 2 seasons and most of the characters in Discovery, because I felt she was human, she was well acted, she was well written, and I feel that acting opposite Patrick Stewart, Picard, really gave her a lot more depth than what she could have had.
I suspect if you had to choose between number one, the dog, and Michael Burnham, my money would be on the dog.
I'm not going to possibly comment on that, but it was a lovely dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great, and we discovered she's a twin, which is awesome, because when she died, I was like, bloody hell, man, just when we were getting used to this character, I was starting to like her, and then boom, off she goes, which was cool. A bit annoying with the kung fu sequences, but I feel that that's more of a Kurtzman thing, where you've got to have a lot of dialogue and then suddenly pow 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 kung fu
Well,
time.
I mean, she's obviously a very skilled fighter. I'm not sure about the massive leap that she leapt up the steps. I didn't quite get that one.
Yeah.
I can't remember Data ever leaping that far.
But it was a great flotation device, though, wasn't it?
It was. She's obviously got some rocket-filled boots that don't actually give any smoke and fire out. But yeah, no, there's obviously, if you haven't seen it, or if you have seen it, you realise there's a Romulan theme running through it. His 2 companions who look after him.
Must be refugees of some sort.
Yeah, refugees, and they are Romulan. Although the female does seem to have an Irish accent.
I was trying to figure what that was actually.
Very light Irish accent. Obviously, she spent some time in Dublin when she arrived on Earth. And,
the Dublin Refugee Centre.
Absolutely, or Galway. Nice place, Galway.
Yeah.
So they care very much for him, obviously, and look after him. And yes, obviously we got the Romulan Recycling Centre. We know the synths, as they now call them, were banned because basically they bombarded Mars and
someone hacked the Mars defense grid and just blew up the place, which wasn't very nice.
And they destroyed the fleet of the armada of ships that Starfleet had sent to rescue the Romulans. Nice reference to Dunkirk by Picard.
Do you even know what Dunkirk is, Paddy?
I wasn't there myself, but I do.
But I liked how he turned it on that reporter,
Yeah.
because it showed her ignorance, and they wrote it so well that we can all relate to who that is. That's the modern Fox type kind of reporter, where they're quite aggressive, they don't respect the rules, they interrupt, they're quite rude. And Picard handled himself very well. Obviously, it's great exposition for us. We can work out why he left Starfleet. And I just thought, yeah, that's... And although he's very frail, I feel that... And he was a lot more personable than what we knew, the more stoic captain from the films and the series. I felt that in 20 years he probably would have mellowed out. He probably would have become like that.
Well, he's definitely mellowed because he's now drinking decaf.
Oh, yeah, decaf.
Earl Grey tea, he's got decaf. Wow,
Yeah.
He's obviously trying to reduce the old stress levels there. But yes, he is. I suspect they've been portrayed Picard as a frail man, so that when he goes out into space, that can show the difference between where he is at the start and how he wants to get out there and get in the captain's chair and do what all captains of starships do, which is they want to be in charge and rushing around space doing spacey things.
So, Paddy, just a little gripe, okay? And I don't want to be one of those fans, but I'm going to be one of those fans, right? So, so when he went to Okinawa, to the Daystrom Institute, the lady opened up B4, which we've since discovered has... he looks a bit mouldy. It wasn't quite right there.
Well, they haven't had the cleaners in for a while, have they?
Indeed.
Needs a bit of brasso on that skin.
So when she opened up the drawer and she closed it, they were using DS9 sound effects from the space station. I thought, well, why would the Federation suddenly have Cardassian sounds for their computers? I know they're trying to link to the past, but at least get it right. That's my view on that. A small little gripe. I know probably no one else notices.
Well, I hadn't noticed. I'll be honest with you.
It just like, oh, come on, guys, that's a sloppy
mistake.
mistake.
When he arrives at Starfleet the first time, he arrives in a Discovery shuttle, doesn't he? So
a Discovery type shuttle, yeah.
So, but then it's probably, to be fair, if it's his shuttle, they're not going to have brand new spanking ones. They're probably, it's from obsolete stock. He's been down the second-hand shuttle yard, obviously.
Yeah.
I said, well, what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for something within this price bracket. He said, well, we've only got those Discovery shuttles.
Oh, we can't talk about Discovery though, Paddy, right? Because it's all highly classified. Wait a minute. God, I really hope they
Might
don't.
have been a prototype.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a test drive model.
From like
or test fly model.
Tesla fly model.
Absolutely,
Very good. But I hope they don't make a link to Discovery. I just leave the two entities alone. I know they've tied back to the 2009 movie, and I'm happy with that. It works with the supernova and Spock's disappearance and the alternate timeline. So that's all canon. That's 100% certified. We know that. I just hope they don't start making references to the super savior of the universe, which is Michael Burnham.
Well, I think by now they're in the future, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in 29th century, wherever the hell they are. I'll watch the third season.
Where apparently Discovery and Starfleet does no longer exist as we know it. So maybe Picard had the foresight to realise the Federation and Starfleet was on a downward spiral.
And it took, where are they, almost 2500s now. So let's say 2500, 300 years for it to decline?
Yeah.
Which would kind of mirror maybe a little bit the Roman Empire.
Well,
in terms of the time span. But yeah, interesting times. But let's just keep the two series apart, simply because we don't want to contaminate the greatness of Picard with something else. So moving forward then, Paddy, really looking forward to the other cameos coming through with 7 of 9. Seeing more of Daj Mark II. Hughes coming back. Obviously there's a great Borg link there. Picard is going to be out there going Make It So again, which is brilliant. We're going to see Riker and Troy again. I really hope we get to see some Starfleet vessels of the future, because I love those ships. They're brilliant.
You must have liked the opening sequence then.
Oh, it's brilliant. Seeing the Enterprise D again, fully rendered, and the way they zoomed in on it. Great spacescapes, which we've never seen all the nebulas and all the colours before.
And playing cards in 10 forward.
Yeah, it was good. Although Data had a Nemesis uniform, which wouldn't have happened. So I think because he was in his dream...
Well, yes, that's, I guess, obviously he died on the Shinzon ship, didn't he? So that's probably... And it's those little subtle things that sort of show the attention to detail that they've clearly gone into. So.
What was interesting is that Data, in that first dream sequence, he had his inner vest, shall we call it, the yellow one, with the zip halfway down, or the zipper just poking out, and then the main jacket, the zipper was poking out again. I thought, Is it because it's rough and ready in the dream, or is it just that's it's so casual now we don't care about clean and tidy uniforms? But these are just minor little things that we pick up.
Well, they've obviously been very good with the special effects to change the shape.
Yeah.
To sort of more reflect Data as we know and remember
Yeah.
them. Because obviously Brent Spiner's a little bit older now than that.
Yeah. I mean, they did the CGI absolutely fantastic. I can't floor it in any way, shape, or form. Although the trailers were shockingly bad, but obviously they were pre-finished renders of what it is. But overall, Paddy, it was nice to see that it was well lit. The cameras weren't on ecstasy. There wasn't a massive blue lens flares, blue light, black light, all this crap that we've been dealing with Discovery. It was calm. It was well executed. Patrick Stewart did such a great job at delivering the lines, and I just felt, it's different, but it's very much of the ilk from the 90s that we were used to with all of the Next Generation series and films.
Well, I mean, I personally thought that the Next Generation was a little bit too politically correct for me. Because obviously Picard wasn't allowed to go down on the surface because obviously it's too dangerous, Captain.
Yeah.
And Will Riker used to do that. So obviously we're going to see him more out there now in space doing things, and I don't believe he'll have a first officer who says, "Oh, you've got to sit on the bridge, Captain. You're getting a little bit old now." I don't think he'll get a short shift. But I do. The Romulan character who came in at the end and spoke to Darsh's sister, who's Soji. I thought for a minute that was Spock, Ethan Peck. When he come again.
It was very emo kind of esque, wasn't it? Yeah.
But then I woke up. It was only a dream.
Yeah, well, I liked seeing the Enterprise E, the model, and the Captain's yacht, and the bat left, so all of these little things. So, nice little, it wasn't too in your face, and it was respectful. And I think, judging by the reactions on online and social media and things like that, a lot of people have got on really well with this pilot. There was so much riding on this, and the studio, the writers, director, have well and truly delivered. So I'm over the moon. I feel that Star Trek, like I said at the very start, it hasn't necessarily been what I believe to be an optimistic, well-written piece of sci-fi. This now is back to cleverly written, thoughtfully delivered Star Trek, and I'm really appreciative of that.
Well, it's very interesting about the cloning from one neuron. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And of course Bruce Maddox, who
actually
tried to get Data disassembled. And was because he said he was property, and Picard went into bat on his behalf and managed to convince the Advocate General he was in fact a sentient being. And then he became a big fan of Data's in the Next Generation. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Maddox appear. Because obviously the twin girls, Data's offspring, being created from something within Data. So where did that come from? That's I think going to be interesting. But yes, I mean, I wonder what. Obviously, and also the Romulans are in there. Perhaps the Remans, who knows, with the old Shinjin knife. But it's going to be very interesting. And they've got 10 episodes, obviously, another 9 to come, and it's been signed up for a second season already. So they know they're on a winner, and I do believe they are on a winner. But yes, I'm quite excited.
Indeed. I haven't watched a...
Not bad for an old Starfleet engineer.
Nay, indeed. I haven't watched a repeat episode of Star Trek since Nemesis has finished, really, apart from on Netflix, the occasional thing. So to watch something new 3 times in the space of a day is just very unusual for me. Discovery, I'll say it how it is. I won't watch another episode.
But interesting,
of the previous seasons.
The very recently deceased boyfriend was of the same race that was in Discovery, who she recrystallized the dilithium.
Who's that?
That was the princess of whatever planet.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, and the news crew looked very interesting as well.
They almost look Nausicaan-like. One of them with the little tusks there. I like the fact that you can now change. I can't do it on Paddy right now because he's not wearing the right lipstick, but you can change colours just by doing a wand. So some kind of molecular manipulation on the old lipstick.
Absolutely.
Didn't think I'd be talking about lipstick
Well, it
today.
might have been digitally put onto from the actual camera. So.
Yeah. That's a lot of detail for lipstick there, Paddy. I didn't.
We must all move on with the times.
Yeah, indeed. All right, Paddy. Well, overall,
Yeah.
very, very pleased.
Out of 10?
I'd give it a strong 8 out of 10. Or
Well,
7 of 9, you could say.
7 out of 9.
7
yeah.
out of 9, there you go. What,
No,
and yourself?
No, I agree. I think it was a very strong episode start. Not sure about the music and the titles.
Right,
But
can I just say something about the theme tune?
yeah.
All right. So, when you think of DS9, Voyager,
Yeah.
Next Generation, the original series, you can sing them off the top of your head. I don't need to prompt you. It's just there in your conscience. Well written, very memorable. Now, Discovery, I think is a piece of crap, the music. Same composer. So, I find the Picard thing, the theme, pretty, but not really memorable. I'm not going to be humming it or thinking, oh yeah, Star Trek Picard. So, it's a shame that they can't give us a really good theme tune.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's only one. Well, you've heard it 3 times. I've only heard it once. Yes, I just that for me just seemed a little bit of a weak thing. If it was to find a criticism, it would be that perhaps could have done with a stronger opening sequence.
Yeah. Also, Paddy,
In terms of credit,
yeah.
songy
Well,
things.
going on the credits,
Yeah.
obviously we know Patrick Stewart's played Professor Xavier in the past with the X-Men series. Notice how I felt there was quite a few references. So when Daj had her, moment when she defeated all the guys, she saw Picard in her vision, almost like an X-Men kind of, there he was, Professor X in her mind. And then during the opening credits, pieces were falling down.
Yeah, the glass bit. Yeah.
And I felt like the Federation was collapsing a little bit. The veneer of the Federation, I thought that's what it represented. But bits and bobs were falling off his face, or coming back onto his face, should I say, which was very similar to how in X-Men 3, his face disintegrated piece by piece. So I'm just wondering if there's like subtle little hints there with the X-Men, or it could just be a coincidence. We'll have to wait and see.
Probably a coincidence. I can't see they'd want to reference another franchise.
Yeah.
But
You never know.
Yeah, the glass bit was interesting.
I genuinely feel this perfect blue sky of the Federation and actually is crumbling.
But I went online actually after I watched it this morning, and the Star Trek Wikipedia has already been updated with all the information relating to Remembrance. And then I believe there's one called Children of Mars coming up, and there's even a slight reference in there to that episode.
Yeah, so Children of Mars was a short trek.
That was a short trek.
Yeah, which showed how Mars, it got destroyed. So it's like the prelude to Picard.
Is that on Amazon Prime?
No, I can't find it on Amazon Prime, and I can't find it on Netflix either. So
Probably have to move to America.
move to America, go on CBS Access. Who knows what they're doing with that kind of stuff? But
If anyone knows how people in the UK can watch those,
please let us know. We'd love to.
shorts,
We'd love
love
to.
it.
So overall, then, Paddy, just to wrap up, really pleased.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that you're also pleased. Just a quick one.
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard. Which pilot would you prefer?
Picard, because it's a character we know, we love. I think they did him justice, and it's going to be very exciting. Difficult with Discovery because, of course, it was a new series, as was Enterprise. But I thought the Enterprise opening
Enterprise
quite-
pilot is brilliant.
was quite
It's
good.
just the rest of it was a little bit.
But I think it's also interesting in that had we lived in different times, I think Enterprise would probably have continued and needed to continue. 3 seasons wasn't really enough.
Well, they gave him 4 and a bit, I think, off the top of my head, and then just when it was getting good, they cancelled it. But there's all sorts of studio politics behind that. I feel the cast was shafted, unfortunately, and we're unlikely to see them come back again.
Would that be in a Jeffrey's tube, would it?
Yeah.
No, but I think that they've showed commitment by saying we're going for a second season. Of course, that doesn't mean they will, but I think
They will.
By all the reviews,
I
the comment, I think we are obviously very happy with it. I hope you are too. They'd be silly not to. They've got a bit of a winner there.
I think they're committed for 3 seasons at least, and they've probably got to move quickly because of Patrick Stewart's age. So yeah, I can't wait to see hopefully they're going for 7. That'd be brilliant.
And it'd be interesting because they're only doing 10 in this series or season, as cousins across the water would say. So it'll be interesting if they just have 10 in the next one, or whether they up it to maybe 12 or 14 or
26, like the good old days. Cool, guys. Well, you've heard our thoughts. We really enjoyed Picard. We can't wait. I feel the studios well and truly redeemed themselves. Thank you for not cocking it up. We appreciate it. And we can't wait to see the rest of the season. Guys, we'd love to hear your thoughts. How did you find Picard? Did you enjoy it as much as we did? You know, do you have any gripes? What worked for you? What didn't work? What could be improved? Please let us know. Please comment on the comments below, or join us on Twitter on Just Star Trek. And yeah, we'll speak to you soon. Live long and prosper, guys.
Yeah, and have a nice glass of Chateau Picard.
Yeah.
When watching it.
Indeed.
I highly recommend it.
See you later. Cheers.